2021, and today we'll guide this conversation. We'll talk about science, but first let's remember about like how we work here on TNT. So TNT is a platform where we can communicate in English, Spanish, Italian, and French. We are here not to judge you, but to help you. So we don't have corrections while we are talking here. And we have like some questions that will guide our conversation. And as usual, let's start introducing ourselves. So, Mel, can you start talking a little bit about you?
Sorry, me?
Okay. Yeah.
Introducing myself.
Yeah, that's it.
Hello, guys. I'm Leon, I'm 28 years old. I'm married. I work with project management and also marketing. I'm here to improve my English, trying to also study Spanish, to make friends. It's also a good environment to that. And in my free times, I like to travel. I like to play piano, to go to the farm zones outside big cities, and I believe that's it.
Thank you so much for sharing. And you, Jefferson.
Good morning, guys. Again, I'm Jefferson. I live in Goiânia, Goiás. I'm economist, professor of Catholic University of Goiás. And it's a pleasure to be here to talk about science as a scientist, economic scientist, PhD in science. I love to talk about science, and have a good day.
Thank you so much. And you, Ricardo, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm sorry for my late. I went to the doctor. Just a quick exam, not really important. Well, I'm Ricardo. I live at São Vicente. I'm married. I work as a telecommunication engineer, and well, I'm trying to learn this tough language because I try to. I have studied a lot of time, so we need to practice.
Thank you so much. And so
Your audio is a little
yeah,
noisy for me.
Can you hear now?
Oh,
It's
much,
better?
much better.
Okay, so let's start our conversation today. And the first question is, how important is science? And do you always trust science? Let's start this one with you, Jefferson.
Yes, I really believe in science. We have advanced in science that have revolutionized medicine, economics, and a lot of professions. It's very interesting because you can understand, you can treat disease. In economics, you can solve a lot of problems. So I really believe in science, and I work with this all the time. I work with a lot of research. I think it's the second one, yeah. But yeah, just to finish, I think science is essential for address global challenge. Today, I'm very worried about climate change, about food security, about poverty in our society, about how to make money as economists, and the consequences of pandemic. So we have so many things to discuss about science, and I trust, I believe, the more you use the science, the more we can have a better society for us.
Yeah, very good. And like in the past, like we had many diseases that nowadays we don't have anymore, like because of the science. So I think it's really important. And I don't think like we are able to live like without science. And I trust in science. Maybe I don't trust like in some people that work with this, but and what about you, Ricardo?
Well, science is one of the most important things in our world. Well, we are until here. That's because the science, the medicines, vaccines, a lot of technology fields. Well, for example, farms. Nowadays, we produce much more elements and food. And well, there are, I could mention a lot of different implementations, improvements in our world from advent from science. And well, I believe in science, and I believe that everyone should in science. I believe that is a lot of problems have occurred because, well, there are some scientists that don't have good communication. So in this case, cause a lot of misunderstanding. So, but yeah, we should believe in science. That's it.
Yeah, and I think it's something that we don't give like value here in Brazil. Like we have many people working so hard to discover things, and like they don't have the government support too. So, and what about you, Leo? What do you think?
Yeah, I really love and I really like science. For me, it's as Ricardo also said, and Jefferson, it's one of the most important things in our society. It's so well very important to our improvement in different fields in our society too. And uh, I was thinking about the Ricardo answers because sometimes we think about science focus on scientific studies, but in general ways, yeah, vaccines, education, economy, a lot of things. But we don't stop to think that without all of these advance, we would not stay here. Yeah, and that's so strong and so important. But as I also believe, uh, I really believe that the science is a kind of thing that improves a lot. And just because of that, I don't believe that all the theories or all the things that we can see, it's 100% sure, because things are improving, things are changing. In the future, we can see a new scientist or a new study changing the things that we today think that is the true, and that is the real and beautiful situation in science, because things are changing all the time. Yeah, we can see improvements uh, around the world. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really complicated because like it's the first thing that comes to my mind, like vaccine, like disease, things like these. But we also have like technology, and so it's really important, like what you said, that like science, it's not just about like the like laboratory area. So we can go to the next one. Like, what science projects or experiments did you like at school? So, Ricardo, what about you?
Well, I believe that is education in Brazil is not so good as it should, and unfortunately, there aren't enough projects or experiments on school, particularly in the at the beginning, the first steps, first stages like kindergarten or I don't know, high school. It's so important because sometimes you study on classrooms like, for example, Bhaskara form or something. So you train, solve these equations a lot of times, but you don't look any real application. So and I could give a lot of different examples. So you use every day in your life, but don't correlate to the classroom because don't exist experiments or any kind of projects. So I believe that is these experiments or projects should encouraged on schools because it's most important, and sometimes there are gifted kid or I don't know. Sometimes it's possible to motivate these kids to become a scientist in the future. So I believe that is most important, is most relevant for everyone, I believe.
Said like about the education here, and I was thinking I had many like good teachers that I know they were trying to like to do their best, and I can remember about like simple things as like to learn how to plant like beans and to make
Yeah.
like play-doh. It's like something that everyone maybe did like at school.
Yeah,
So
everyone made this experiment. No?
yeah, and you, Leo.
It's the second two, yeah. Yeah, I did a lot of experiments at school. I remember for me the most the class that I enjoyed so much, it was the science class, or chemics. I don't know how, I forgot how can I say chemica. Um, and I enjoyed so much this time at school. My wife until today can works a lot with that because she is finishing engineering, and in physics and chemics class she participates in a lot of experiments. For me, it's something very interesting and more interesting to get the attention of children when we compare it to physical books. Yeah, physical books, it's very important, but we know that when we talk about children, it's very hard to get attentions on that kind of people, yeah, on children's with physical books.
Yeah, I think it's really important to like to create memories too, because like it's something that everyone remember nowadays. So about these moments and you, Jefferson.
I'm too young to remember experiment at school, but let's go talk from now, from what I'm doing at university. I participated in two projects experiment is very interesting. The first one it's about sugarcane, the expansion of sugarcane in Goiás, and you relate sugarcane with other kinds of product. And we talk about how to make money with sugarcane and other products, compare the results of this, about the environment, the use of water, the use of machines, the use of human being. So it's a very interesting project that I work with. And the second one is about railroads and roads. I'm analyzed now the expansion of railroads in Goiás, three big railroads and the importance of those railroads to boost our economy, to increase our productivity, and to have less what else? Less about human being. I forgot the name now. Yeah. The problem is that the roads you assassinated a lot of persons, and with railroads you can avoid this. That's the correlation we trying to do. So it's very interesting, this project about railroads.
Yeah, you said like about sugarcane and made me think about what Leo said, that science is not just about like vaccines and things like these, but it's also like about food. Yeah, so it's really important. And can you hear me well now?
Yeah, it's better now. You
Better
have some
now.
problem, but better now.
Let me, and now.
That's okay.
Yeah, okay.
It's better. It was terrible.
Yeah.
I can't pay attention for you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. So let's see. The number 3. What interesting scientific discoveries have been made in the last century? Like something that you think it's too interesting. And what about you, Leo? Let's start this one with you.
Yeah, I would say, well, for me, the light, it's so important. It's not recently, but for me, it's one of the most important things we can see today. Um, Also, all the things involving or related to communication that we have seen in the last 20 years, communication, internet, 20, no, 30 years maybe, computer, all the evolution that we have seen. I would really emphasize this: the light, energy, the communication and computer, all the things related to advanced when we talk about computer. And maybe we're gonna see other revolution now with artificial intelligence, machine learning, and other technologies that we're going to see. growing a lot this year. But also, of course, we have a lot of advanced. Uh, I forgot how can I say advances, because advantages it's other things, but advances maybe
Yeah.
are great. And we have a lot of advances when we talk about healthy, yeah, education, that we need also to improve so much in education. We need to improve, but I would emphasize this: energy, l- light, computer communication, and in the future, artificial intelligence.
Yeah, I think like the improvement of communication is something really important for us. I don't know, like at the same time that I love technology, sometimes I hate because people don't know how to use to do like good things. And what about you, Jefferson?
I think the first ones, I think the discovery of DNA structure. It's very important for us to understand the changes of genetics and advances in medicine, biotechnology, that we use this a lot here, especially here in Wales, with agriculture and product for agriculture. And for me, this is very interesting about DNA theory. And the second one, I follow Leo, the quantum mechanism, the advance of this kind of quantum mechanism. It's very important for our computer, the advance of computer, the science of computer. What else? And think about vaccine. It's very important. The human genome sequencing. With this study, it's so short term. We have sequencing of a lot of genetic and disease, and we made our vaccine from COVID in a short time. It's very for me, it's very interesting. And just to finish, something that I use a lot, but needs to pay attention, is artificial intelligence. It's something very interesting because I can put the robots to work for me now. I feel so good about this. And so many things that I used to spend a lot of time with Excel and other kinds of problems that I used to look for, so many literatures, so many research about this. I can put these guys, for artificial intelligence, to work for me, and I have my own algorithm now, and I feel very comfortable with this.
Yeah, I would add just a comment that I saw some news talking about, for example, the revolution of artificial intelligence we're going to see, for example, in the next 10 years, can be compared to industrial revolution when we talk about importance in our society. In the next 10 or 15 years, we're going to see a lot of revolutions compared to the importance of industrial revolution that we saw in our society some centuries ago. Yeah, so interesting,
Yeah.
very interesting.
Yeah, and like saying about like artificial intelligence like is something that it is helping us a lot. But I was saying, I think people need to learn how to deal with this, because some people they are like becoming lazy, so they don't want to think about, like, and I say this because of myself, I am becoming lazy because of all this technology. So, and you, Ricardo?
Well, in the last century, was create a lot of important things. Cloning procedure, I don't know. relative theory. I don't know. Airplane, yeah. But I don't know. If you have to mention just one, maybe the internet, like computers and internet, not exactly because of the invention, but the perspective. Nowadays, I don't know if someone could study anything by internet free, and the scientists, the people could exchange information, or I don't know. It's possible to create a collaborative study or some things. So I could mention internet and the way to communication among this world. I believe it's possible to improve. I don't know. Sometimes there is a doctor, and he faced difficulties to diagnose some disease or something. And I remember, oh, there is I don't know, there is some people that face different situations, and any doctor could diagnose these people, and nowadays it's possible to found a lot of information about, I believe, any kind of disease. That's it.
Yeah, and I was thinking here about like medical imaging, like that they can see like beyond what is hidden like by our skin and bone. I think this is something really nice. So because like we can discover like many diseases because of these, or if you have like something broken too. And Ricardo, you said about cloning, so I will skip to number 9. How do you feel about cloning, and do you think it's ethical for scientists to clone animals? And what about human organs? What do you think?
Oh, well, I believe that is any kind of act is possible to do, but there are some circumstances, ethical circumstances, that cause a lot of problems. So I don't know. It's possible to use a knife to cut a bread and share with another person, or it's possible to kill someone. So the problem is not exactly the procedure, cloning. The problem is the use of this procedure. For example, I don't know, I could use this procedure to reproduce I don't know, a lung or lungs or heart or something. So in this case, it's possible to help a lot of people. But I don't know if some guy, some evil guy, I don't know, could use this procedure to create, I don't know, an army or something. So in this case, is the problem is the way to use, not exactly the invent or the gadget or the how to say, the procedure. That's it.
Yeah, maybe it's the reason why the person is doing this, is cloning something. And you, Jefferson.
Yes, I think I will follow my friend Ricardo. I think the point is the ethical implications of cloning. I think this is the big debate. I remember the Dolly ship in 1919 somewhere, 1996 or 8, I don't know, about this discussion in England, and I'm very worried about this because we can use this with human being and animal. I was watching a film, I don't know the name now. It's a clone of a human being and a dog. Terrible. I can't think about this. It's very, I think the point of view, the ethical point of view, I think it's not so good. It's not so good. You can clone animals or you can clone human beings. I think you have a lot of risk and moral implication. I'm against this, really against this. But unfortunately, about cloning, we use this a lot with soybean, for example, with corn and a lot of products that we use this kind of thing. We are cloning the one product with the other product. We see this in agriculture a lot.
Yeah.
But the consequence of this from a human being,
The animals too.
sometimes,
The
yeah,
animals too, Jefferson.
yeah, sometimes I think it's not so good. Yeah, I saw this in some animals. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes some people think that cloning is just or how do you say genetic intervention is just nowadays, but for example, dogs or cows is change a lot because the human intervention. They reproduce the best cow that produce more milk, and they just improve the animals. So, but is today the last week, I don't remember, I was watching an interview about the pet clones. That's some weird because some people pay a lot of money to clone a dog or a cat. It's a little strange, I believe.
Yeah, just to finish, just to add something, you must to think about the human health and not just to make money with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe that is the guy pay 10 or 15,000 reais to clone the dog or the cat. I'm not sure, but it's around.
It's a lot of money, and I think it's something dangerous for, I don't know, for the animal who was cloned, the one who, yeah, and I think it's dangerous for the person too, for like their mental health. I don't think it's a good thing. So, and you, Leo?
Yeah, for me, it's very complicated. As the guys mentioned before, we have some ethical issues to solve here before trying to implement that kind of, well, situations. Because my fear when we talk about clones is the lose of control, yeah, and the consequence of that. When we lose control, we cannot measure the consequence. And imagine a situation where you can, for example, the medicine can clone organs to help people in a very complicated situation. But with the time, we cannot measure in the short time, the consequence of that kind of implementation. And that's why I believe, for me, my opinion, clones, it's one of the subjects or one of the issues that the scientists and all of humanity need to take care so much, needed to respect this issue, needed to study hard, needed to understand also the limits to advance, and also the limits to trying to realize some tests. As also Ricardo mentioned, when we see that kind of things with animals, we are starting to drink milk from animals with a lot of genetic modifications that we're gonna see the impact some years later. Sometimes, we cannot measure in this short time, and it's something that can go back against us.
Yeah.
We need to take care of this.
But I don't I wasn't talk about the genetic manipulation. It's talk about the human intervention. For example, you are a lot of cows in your farm, so but there are a specific cow produce more milk. So in this case, the farmers pick up this cow and the I don't know the male. I'm not sure the name of sowing, and they just reproduce the best producer milk cow that's produce more milk, and there are a farm that exists just the great milk producers. So that's I was talking about this situation, not exactly manipulated the best genes. So
But it's also possible,
yeah. So
We
it that exists during the mankind, the last on the past until today. For example, the cow is produce much more milk than I don't know the prehistoric time.
As we also can see when we talk about dogs, they people try to mix races,
Exactly.
produce a better dog or a more beautiful dog.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think there is like I think it is pug. Like it's a dog that they are made at laboratory, and they have like a lot of problems with like the breath. So I think it's something really dangerous too.
Sure.
And talking about this, I think we can answer one more question. Do you think time travel will be possible in the future? So, Leo, what do you think?
Time travel. Let me see here. What is the meaning of that? Time travel.
We can translate as viagem no tempo.
Well, I don't know. For me, it's impossible. For me, it's one of the impossible things that we can develop. I don't have any knowledge about that. About when we talk about physics and atoms and things like that. But I imagine that it's that issue. It's behind of these the subjects. The physical studies. I can imagine it trying to create my opinion based on physics of high school. Because in my college I studied more humans than maths. But I can imagine that, well, trying to translate or trying to change atoms from point A to a point B. It's something impossible. It's just my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think it's possible to. And you, Jefferson.
Yeah, I think the concept of time travel, it's impossible. Still, it's impossible now, with a lot of problems with our understand of physics and the science. Just theoretically, it's possible, but in practice, I think it's impossible. You can manipulate the time. It's impossible to manipulate the time. I don't believe in this now. Maybe in the future, but for me, it's impossible. But if you think about to time travel, about Harry Potter, all this kind of guys that I don't like, but a lot of guys, no problem. It's not my problem. You can think about this. You can think about the future, how will be the future. But just think about hypothetical, just hypothetical. Yeah, I think in reality, when you think about the space-time, it's very difficult to travel for time, for about the time. I think it's very difficult. But maybe in the future, I really don't know. I don't know how it will be the future. But in summary, currently it's not possible with the current technology that we have, with the exploration. Only is scientific exploration and imagination. Only think about Harry Potter or something like this.
Yeah, I don't want to gateways like that. I just want good highways from Rio to São Paulo. Yeah, highways and also good, very
Yeah.
good subway. We just need a subway from Rio to São Paulo.
Trem bala, do tem
Yeah.
bala.
It's a
Trem
project,
bala.
but I don't know when it's going to go outside the paper. But it's a real project, a train bala from Rio to São Paulo, with 1 hour and a half. Yeah, very near.
It's a dream. Yeah, you must dream someday.
Yeah, and you were talking that it's impossible to manipulate the time, and like the time is something that it doesn't exist too. It's something like that we create, just like to measure the time. So I think it's really impossible to manipulate something that maybe it doesn't exist, So, and you, Ricardo, what's your opinion about it?
Well, I don't know. I believe that if someone creates a time travel machine or something, I believe that the mankind is not prepared to this event. Well, and the concept is maybe is possible according Einstein. If you, for example, made a travel to the, for example, a whole black hole region, the time pass from different way in this region, or even in our reality, the time is relative, so is passed from different ways from different people. But I'm not sure. I read some books, Stephen Hawking book and the others. There are some actors that believe in the possibility. So in this case, I could mention, I could follow according the question number 1. I have to trust in science and the scientists. And so I believe that is possible in the future, but I'm not really know about these things. I just believe in scientists according to the possibility. Just it.
Yeah. So we have one question here that is about science is the power of man. And talking about this, do you think that like science is really like the power of man or not?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree. I believe that science is power of man. We could do anything, I believe, using science.
And you, Jefferson, do you agree too, or?
Yeah, I really agree. The advance of science is with the man. We men work with the science and technology all the time. So he must transform the reality. I think for better. If you think about climate change, as I said, about DNA, artificial intelligence, all of this. This is the power of man, transform our reality and put the machine to work for us.
Like to improve the things that we already have, like to make them better for us. And you, Leo.
Yeah, I agree, and I also can think science as a mix of a lot of things and a lot of behaviors of human beings. For example, it's a mix of imagination, a mix of knowledge, imagination with knowledge, with experiments, with purpose. For me, science it's a resume of all of these action that we can do. Yeah. And when we have imagination with purpose and we also have knowledge, we can try to make experiments to improve our society in a certain way. I believe it's a kind of power. And of course, with power, we need to be very careful in some situations. Yeah, before trying to, well, assume truths and so telling that that's it's the true and so for me we need to take care a lot.